coming today or this evening. I really appreciate it. This is our monthly webinar, uh, affectionately known as Second Tuesdays with Elliot. And today we have a special guest. Our guest is Hunter Bahre. Hunter lives nearby and came to us via me. Hunter is my nutritionist, who I met just about a year ago now, a little longer than that, a little less than that. And we had quite a bit of success, which we'll be able to talk about if anybody's interested. But Hunter's background, he's been a practitioner and owned his own nutrition consulting business as a, we'll call it a freelance nutritionist since 2018. Don't want to age you there. Registered dietitian, degrees from University of Bridgeport, University of Connecticut. Hunter's offices for physical visits are in Canton and Farmington, Connecticut. He does do virtual visits as well with telehealth. Hunter's in a great position because the medical community recognizes the value of nutritionists, and therefore Medicare, which applies to most of the people on this call, as well as most other, Anthem, Aetna, Cigna, et cetera, our Hunter services are covered. So just know that. So today we're going to talk really about kind of what's going on in the world of supplements, what's hot, what's not, what to really think about, what to stay away from, and generally speaking, what you can do from a supplement point of view, nutrition point of view, and if we have time, a food point of view, to stay healthy and improve your health. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Hunter, and if you want to say a few words or bring on your presentation,
Okay.
the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Elliot. Very, very kind of you. And it's a pleasure to be with you all this evening. As Elliot said, my name is Hunter Bahre. I'm a registered dietitian, and I am the owner of Reform Nutrition, nutrition private practice in Farmington and Canton, Connecticut. And I've been in practice, like he said, since 2018. And I take most major insurances. And it's really nice to see that the medical community is seeing the value in preventative care, and what's the best way to go about that, of course, is with nutrition. And so I help individuals for a variety of different conditions, those just looking to improve their overall health, those with specific disease states, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, those who are looking to with a sports nutrition focus. I help people with that all the time. So just a variety of different things. And it just is a super strong interest of mine. My Canton office, I just added a space to do some personal training. So that is launching in February. Actually, I have all my equipment. It's just a matter of getting set up. So really looking forward to that. But I'm excited to bring this presentation to you tonight. I'm going to be talking about different supplements, especially highlighting three with some honorable mentions at the end. The vitamins, minerals, and some phytonutrients that, from the research, seem to be beneficial as of 2025. Again, of course, we're here at the beginning of 2026, but still obviously applies today. So we will get into that. And also at the end, we're going to be talking about two wonderful nutrients to focus on to really get the best bang for your buck out of your diet. And that's protein and fiber. So I will touch on that at the end. So looking forward to bringing this to you. Let me just share my screen and we will get underway here.
Yep, I can see your screen. Perfect.
That's coming through? Great. All right. So yeah, the title, supplements, what's worth taking, and dietary gems, protein, and fiber. So let's hop to it. So when considering supplementation, context is everything. context is just referring to um, what stage of life you're in, and that applies to what your current diet looks like. In fact, that's the primary consideration. And what I like to do with my clients is to do a diet analysis. So I like to have, if possible, people track their diet. So tracking their intake, tracking the foods that they're having, the amount of food that they're having, and putting that into a reputable food app. Like Chronometer is an excellent one because it gives the breakdown of different vitamins and minerals. And that really gives us the best picture of what we need to do to adjust the diet based on what the current status of the diet is. So really that's number one in considering supplementation, what things we need to add to that. But also important things like age, obviously, sometimes, as you get older, your nutrient needs will go up for certain things, whether you're male or female, and activity level. If you're more sedentary, you might not require as much of a certain vitamin or mineral. If your activity levels are higher, you may require more. And then disease history. So certain disease states are going to increase the need for certain vitamins and minerals. And actually, one of the supplements that we're going to touch on tonight is for that exact reason. It's going to be talking about zinc in regard to type 2 diabetes. So the three different supplements that I have laid out, the main ones that we're going to focus on, I saw the best evidence for these supplements, looking at our population, the health landscape of our population in our country today. So, of course, everybody has individual needs, but these are like three broad supplements that a good majority of the population could probably add in to get benefit out of their diet. And of course, there may be other things too, but that is all dependent on the individual with these other considerations. But primarily, getting a current nutrient status and diet analysis will better help us hone in on what needs to be added. And of course, I just want to make the disclaimer: if you before adding any supplements, vitamins, minerals, even adjusting your protein intake, it's always best to consult your doctor, qualified health professional, because there may be contraindications there. So let's get to the first supplement tonight. Here they are laid out. Actually, here's creatine is going to be the first one I'm going to address. Zinc and curcumin. Those are the three main ones. So I'm sure everybody's heard of all three of those. And creatine, I feel like it's on social media everywhere. And when you hear the word creatine, you probably associate that with bodybuilders and those in the gym lifting weights, maybe even athletes. Traditionally, it's used as an ergogenic aid, so that just means it helps aid in sports performance, and primarily for the reason that it helps with recovery from exercise. But actually, you do get about 50% of the creatine from your diet, and then your body actually makes creatine. So about 50-50 it comes from the food, and then your body will make it. But supplementation of it has shown to be beneficial, especially for those, of course, being in the gym, working out, athletes. About 2/3 of individuals do get a benefit from the creatine in regard to sports performance and helping to improve recovery, where a third of individuals don't, but the majority still do. So in that respect, it may be a supplement you could add if you are physically active. But for the main reason is that creatine, it's used as an energy substrate at the cellular level. And so for fast twitch short burst activities like sprinting, like lifting weights, that's the main energy source that the activity is that's using to supply energy for that activity. And as of in the last few years, in the last like 5 years, there's been more and more research on the benefits of creatine for memory and cognition. This is used in individuals who are 70 years of age and older, and it actually does help to improve memory, and also the recollection of memories and just cognitive function and thought processing. Um, the most effective form of creatine is creatine monohydrate. It happens to be the cheapest form, the most readily form on the market. If you really want to go for a pure source of creatine, the product CreaPure, you can look for that, and then it's going to ensure that you're getting a good quality product and not something that's made overseas in a very sketchy lab. So you can check out CreaPure, and you don't need to supplement with any more than 5 grams of creatine per day. So that covers the base of individuals of all ages over the ages of 18 and above. Um, so 5 grams a day, it's not a lot. I mean, you can mix it into oatmeal, you could put it in a smoothie, you could just drink it in water. It's very easy to take. It comes in capsule form and also powders. I prefer the powder, but it's seems to have a lot of research backing it, and it only positive things as the months and the years roll on in regard to memory and cognition. So yeah, our second supplement of the night is zinc. I'm sure many of you have heard of zinc, are familiar with zinc, especially during this time of year with cold and flu in abundance around us. Um, it is effective in helping to stop replication of cold and flu virus. But mainly for the purpose of this presentation, what I saw consistent with evidence and strong evidence for it was its help in type 2 diabetes and its ability to help improve um, the state, the metabolic state of type 2 diabetes, which is characterized by insulin resistance. So that is the state of your body's inability to properly process glucose that you get in through the diet, mainly carbohydrates through the diet. Um, and so when you have insulin sensitivity, your body ends up not being able to put the glucose from the bloodstream into the liver, into the muscles efficiently. And so that glucose just floats around, and it can wreak a lot of havoc on the body. In what goes with type 2 diabetes, what we see in our country today, we have a obesity crisis in our country. So nearly 1 in 3 adults are overweight, and greater than 2 in 5 adults have obesity. So over 42% of individuals in our country. And what follows overweight and obesity? It's insulin resistance. So this would cover a base of a large group of people in our country. Zinc supplementation would help a lot of those individuals in helping to improve insulin sensitivity, and therefore potentially lose weight a little more efficiently, and better mitigate the side effects of having blood glucose, your glucose in the blood floating around and causing neuropathy and kidney damage and other negative side effects of that. It's also beneficial for individuals who are insulin resistant. It has been shown to have a positive effect on uh, uh, HDL cholesterol, helping to bring that up and lowering the LDL, the bad cholesterol, um, with that impaired blood glucose regulation. So individuals who are healthy, there was no benefit when zinc was supplemented for those who had healthy response to insulin. So if you have high cholesterol, if your LDL is high and your HDL is low, but you're not insulin resistant, it's probably not going to confer any benefit. So that only applies to those who are insulin resistant. Um, and so yeah, the recommended dietary allowance is 11 milligrams for men and 8 milligrams for women. Um, and long-term zinc supplementation, it needs to be done carefully because prolonged supplementation of zinc for greater than 4 weeks at like 20 milligrams a day can deplete copper stores in the body over time. So it needs to be done thoughtfully, and it should be done under the guidance of a qualified health professional to make sure you're not becoming deficient in something as an important mineral as copper. Um, so that just needs to be paid attention to. Yeah. Thirdly, we're gonna be discussing curcumin now, and you may have heard of curcumin. It's actually the main active component that is in turmeric, and so it seems to be effective for a variety of different things. There are many studies out there where it's used where it's shown to be effective in lowering cholesterol, also improving blood sugar. So there's that improvement of insulin sensitivity. It may help do that. The results from research seem to show that, and also lessening the symptoms of depression, and also reducing osteoarthritis pain. Um, you may think about those different disease states, um, and what the common denominator is there, and it's really inflammation. Inflammation is at the root of all those things. And so curcumin has shown to be effective in decreasing inflammation in the body. Um, is it like a fix-all supplement? Not at all. None of these supplements are fix-all supplements. Certainly starting with the basis of a good, healthy diet, covering your bases there, focusing on things that matters. I think the end of this presentation will be a good way to tie up the loose ends of that, and just talking about the protein and the fiber, but making sure you have the basis of good nutrition first before you start supplementing, because none of these will be a cure-all, but they will, from what I've seen from the research, the three will help um, with supplementation, with your health, if you're already getting a good diet in. So decreasing inflammation, and it actually helps boost your body's ability to make antioxidants. So things like the master antioxidant in the body, glutathione. Some people may have heard of that. You can supplement with glutathione, but your body makes it. Other things like alpha lipoic acid, and coenzyme Q10. So curcumin helps boost all those, your body's own natural production of those. And curcumin on its own and turmeric on its own is not absorbed very well. So it's important that you take it with a delivery system that's going to maximize the absorption, so it can confer and give you the benefits for decreasing inflammation. So it should be taken with piperine, and that's just a black pepper extract, or there are patented lipid delivery systems out there. Two of the most notable ones are BCM 95 and Mariva. Um, there's a really nice product by Thorne called curcumin phytosome, and they use the Mariva lipid delivery in there. It's just a nice supplement, and it's dosed properly right there, so you can just follow the recommendations on the back, and that'll give you the proper dose with that nice delivery system. But to run through the recommendations for the amounts, if you're going to supplement with the curcumin and the piperine, the most effective dosing is 500 milligrams with 5 to 6 milligrams of piperine 3 times a day. So that total dose is 1,500 milligrams of curcumin with 15 to 20 grams of piperine per day. And I think it's a little bit more efficient and easier to supplement with either the BCM 95 or the Mariva. Fewer pills, less to think about for our busy lives. Of course, that works out better. So for BCM 95, what's been studied and shown to be effective is 500 milligrams twice a day for a total dose of 1,000 milligrams per day. And then with a Mariva supplement, it's the effective dose is 200 to 500 milligrams twice a day. So that ends up being 400 to 1,000 milligrams twice a day. So you fall in and you get a supplement that will allow you to be within those parameters. You'll be taking an effective dose that's been studied. So that is curcumin. And then some other honorable mentions here for nutrients to consider. Maybe there are individuals who are across the country in a sunnier place at this time of the year, but as far as being in the Northeast, the sunshine is not, to say the least, it's not adequate right now. So supplementation of vitamin D may be a wise thing to consider. So for the upper limit for that is 4,000 international units per day. A lot of people during this time of the year are deficient, especially in northern parts of the country. So it may be wise to supplement with vitamin D. Um, Magnesium, this is a nutrient that is fairly depleted from our food supply today, unless you're focusing on a good whole foods-based diet. The standard American diet, full of processed foods, is not going to supply proper magnesium levels. So this is a mineral that the entire body uses. Every cell of the body uses magnesium. So its need in the body is it's quite abundant. So making sure you have enough from your diet, and if necessary, supplementing with the magnesium. Uh, and so for men, the recommended dietary allowance is 420 milligrams a day. For women, it's 320 milligrams per day. And so that is a beneficial supplement. It can help with insulin sensitivity. It can help with cramping, leg cramping. It can help with sleep. It can act as a gentle laxative, something like magnesium citrate. So something to consider. In vitamin B12, and this is a nutrient that should be considered, especially in people who are vegetarian and vegan. Just because the sources of B12 in the diet, you're gonna have to strategize the diet very carefully in order to get enough vitamin B12. So vegetarian and vegans should pay attention to that nutrient and potentially supplement with it if necessary, if it's not being attained from the diet. Um, and also, as you age, your ability to digest things such as protein will diminish. So vitamin B12 is dependent on stomach acid to be absorbed properly. So that might be something to consider with aging. And lastly, the last notable nutrient to consider is garlic. And this is something that's been thought to help with immunity. It's actually, the evidence for garlic in regard to immunity is weak. There's mixed studies to suggest that it may help, but it's unclear whether or not it helps with immunity. But there is evidence to suggest that it does help with blood pressure and cholesterol reduction. Um, it can be used. The food can be used. Of course, garlic. You can use that as a means to supplement. However, it's going to come with a undesirable side effect in that you're going to have garlic breath and probably smell like garlic. So that's where, like, an aged garlic extract, which does not have the same scent and will not give you stinky garlic breath. You can supplement with aged garlic extract anywhere from 600 to 1,200 milligrams per day to confer the benefit of improving your lipid profiles and blood pressure. So you can consider all of those as well. How am I doing in time? Yeah. And so the um, last part of this slide, I think it will tie up the presentation nicely. Um, the last two things, protein and fiber. If you pay attention to these two components in your diet, you will check off a lot of health boxes in the area of nutrient density, making sure you're getting a wide array of nutrients, helping to promote muscle mass as you age, helping to promote gut health, helping to promote cholesterol reduction, good healthy lipid profiles, insulin sensitivity, if you focus on protein and fiber. So I feel like all the time I'm with a lot of my clients and patients, I protein and fiber. We can just go back to the basics a lot and drill down on protein and fiber, and that can check off a lot of health boxes. And so protein provides 4 calories per gram. The recommended dietary allowance. So this is a minimum. I typically recommend way more than 0.8 grams per kilogram per day. I usually like to see the diet for moderately active individuals somewhere between 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram. of protein in the diet each day. So for somebody who's a 150-pound person, that's about 68 kilograms. So if we're aiming for about 1.4 grams per kilogram on protein, it's about 100 grams of protein per day. Um, for a lot of people, I surprise them because it's much more protein than they're used to, but that's what I'm here for, to help you make sure you're getting your needs within the appropriate caloric intake in relative to your lifestyle and disease status and everything else that goes into your health. And so not all proteins are created equal. So this fancy acronym PDCAAS, that stands for Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score. And so that assesses the protein's quality. And it's a score of some go on the basis of 1 or 100, but that's the top level score of protein. Below that, of course, the protein quality diminishes. And you'll generally notice that the animal sources of protein are higher quality proteins, meaning that they have all the amino acids available within that make up the protein. Certain plant proteins, not to say you can't get enough protein from plants, you absolutely can. But certain things like fiber, dietary fiber, which are inherent to plant proteins, are going to inhibit digestion. You have other things, you have other anti-nutrients, you have enzyme inhibitors, and for example, in things like beans that will not allow you to digest them as efficiently. But the protein in animal sources are generally readily available. So having quality protein as you age is super important. The phenomenon of anabolic resistance, and that is a condition that just highlights the inability to build muscle as you age. And after the age 40, it can be as high as 1 to 3% per year of muscle loss. So that can add up over time if you're not active, if you're not getting enough protein. Women are a little bit more susceptible to that due to hormonal differences with men. But getting enough dietary protein is super critical and just a piece to the puzzle to help mitigating anabolic resistance and keeping that off. So it helps to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. That's the process of building and maintaining muscle. So getting enough protein in the diet is critical. And actually, you need more protein as you age, not less. I often ask people, like, who do you think needs more protein? Is it the 17-year-old or is it the 80-year-old? A lot of people say it's a 17-year-old. They're growing, they're young, they're active. Well, in reality, the 17-year-old is very, very efficient at protein digestion. They don't need as much protein to stimulate a similar muscle protein synthesis response. The 80-year-old is not going to have the same ability to digest the protein, so actually more is required to get the same muscle protein synthesis response. So a good bare minimum to aim for is at least 30 grams of protein per meal, and that will help ensure that you're getting at least 3 grams of what's called leucine, and that's an amino acid that acts as the turnkey for muscle protein synthesis. So interestingly, leucine, when it's isolated, will not turn on muscle protein synthesis. You need to have all the amino acids available, but leucine helps kind of get everything going. So having good sources is critical in the diet, and then just working with a dietitian, qualified health professional, to help you ensure to get your protein if you are vegetarian or vegan. Definitely recommend that. There's that recommendation, 1 to 2 grams per kilogram. So lastly, the dietary fiber, it's super critical to get in. It seems like it's something so simple, but it has so many different health benefits. Really, if you're getting adequate dietary fiber in the diet, for men ages 18 to 50, the recommendation is 38 grams of fiber per day. For 51 years and older, 30 grams of fiber per day. For women 18 to 50, 25 grams a day. For 51 years and older, 21 grams of fiber per day. So really, if you get enough dietary fiber, if you're hitting those recommendations, it's going to tell me that you're getting a good array of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, things that are going to provide a lot of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and also phytonutrients that will help promote health. And those are just the natural, like the plant compounds that are shown to reduce blood pressure, ward off cancer, things like beta carotene, anthocyanins in blueberries, resveratrol, which is found in grapes, um, those sort of things. So you check off a lot of boxes in that regard. Fiber also is satiating, keeps you fuller longer. It'll help stabilize your blood sugar levels. It helps reduce cholesterol. There are mainly two forms of fiber. There's soluble fiber, and that is the kind of fiber that is soluble in water, and it will produce a gel-like substance in your GI tract, which in turn helps stabilize your blood sugar. It slows the blood glucose rise when there's a carbohydrate-rich meal, and it will also bind cholesterol and keep that from going into the bloodstream, and it will allow you to eliminate it. And the component of fiber that helps you provide bulk to the GI tract is the insoluble fiber. And this is what helps the transit through the GI tract to keep things moving. And so just to give you an example of what 37 grams of fiber per day, so kind of in between the different recommendations, it's a good amount of food. um, this it could be a whole mix and match of different foods to provide this, but just one, like a medium avocado, 1.5 cups of raspberries, an orange, a serving of oatmeal, 1 cup of broccoli. So maybe for some homework for you, do some maybe doing a little analysis, do a fiber analysis of your diet and see how you're doing in regard to what age you are, what the recommended fiber intake is for your age, and kind of compare to see where you are in relation to the recommendation. So that'd be cool to check out. And so these are my sources used here. And thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Hunter. We're going to take questions. So again, if anybody has any, feel free to use the raise hand button. But certainly, I thought I'd throw out a couple of things that I wanted to mention as you were chatting. Um, so question on protein, and just going back, I know that the reference was 1 to 2 grams per kilogram, but we're all Americans, and so we think in pounds. And so I was taught at some point in time that if you were really trying to have a lot of protein, that it was 1 pound, 1 gram per pound, but kind of on the minimum side was a half a gram per pound.
Yeah,
Um,
about a half gram per pound. Right in the sweet spot. What seems to be, if you're physically active, you're eating at a caloric maintenance. Right about 0.7 grams per pound seems to be um
okay,
good minimum to hit if you're very physically active. So
there we go. So, all right, so let's go with that. Someone who's, let's see if I can do this math, 160 pounds has got to eat about 110 grams of protein, give or take.
yes, bingo.
So let's talk chicken,
Uh-huh.
because everybody kind of, how much chicken is that? Like if I got to eat 110 grams of protein, and for me, let's just pretend it's going to be chicken on a given day,
Mhm.
like like reality. What is that?
Yeah. In reality, so a good reference would be your palm. Your palm represents, probably for women, about 3 ounces of meat protein. So that could be chicken, it could be beef, fish. Fish is another story depending on if it's a fattier
Okay,
fish like salmon
so
versus.
so let's just say that's 3 ounces, and then how much protein is in that? How many
Yeah, so
grams?
that's going to be about 25 to 30 grams of protein. If it's a leaner source of protein like chicken breast, that's going to be about 25 to 30 grams of protein. So
Okay,
yeah.
so
You're
if I'm
looking
going
at
to have my protein in chicken, I got to have 4 pounds of chicken or beef
per,
or
per meal.
turkey or yeah.
per meal about 4 to 5 ounces, 4 to 5 ounces, which is a little bit bigger. For men, it's probably, men's palms are bigger. So just
Yeah.
about 4 ounces. So right
Okay.
about that size. Yeah.
Got it. So I just want to make sure everybody understands what that is. That's probably much more than you're accustomed to eating unless you really fancy yourself a meat eater, you
Yes.
know.
Another good
Um,
reference I keep on my desk is a deck of cards. I mean, that represents about 3 ounces right there. So, you know,
oh, that's good.
it's a good
Yeah,
reference.
that's helpful. All right, I'll ask one more question and then we can move on because I do see a couple of questions in the audience. So I thought I would share a tip because I am a patient of hunters, and one of my challenges early on was to raise my fiber, and so eating eating what most people would think of fibrous foods like an avocado just didn't have a lot of appeal to me. And eating 2 avocados a day or three, woof, no, that wasn't happening. And so Hunter suggested what I'm going to call a really fun food. And for all you people out there that like oatmeal or cookies, you got to write this one down. It's Alyssa's Healthy Vegan Bites.
Oh,
Am I
yes.
saying it right?
That's
Alyssa's Healthy Vegan
correct.
Bites. You buy them in Big Y or Stop and Shop or Amazon. I buy mine from Alyssa because I buy a lot of them. But a cookie about yay big is 45 calories with a whole lot of protein and fiber. You get 10 grams of fiber for 2 cookies, um, and 90 calories. So 180 calories, you can have 20 grams of fiber, and you get to have cookies. So
Yeah.
I have that with a glass of soy milk. That's my treat. So doubling up on the protein with soy milk, getting a little fiber, and then the Alyssa's cookies is just a great snack slash dessert for me. So I just want to thank Hunter for sharing that because it's been very, very helpful. So with that, Jeff Stumpf, you got your hand raised. I'm going to allow you to talk. So Jeff, if you unmute yourself, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Elliot. So my
Yep,
question
we,
is,
we can hear
what
you.
and where would I get magnesium from?
Yeah, yeah. So magnesium, it's really with when you're talking about protein foods, you're going to get magnesium from dairy. That if you can tolerate dairy in the diet, that would be one of the main areas that you can get that. It's a kind of a double whammy. You get zinc, you get iodine, you will get magnesium from it, and also things like cocoa. If you're into cocoa, pumpkin seeds are great as well, and different nuts and seeds. Um, so a lot of those things, and you can also get fiber from those things as well. So you can check off those boxes while getting magnesium. So
Do the um, almond milk supplements instead of drinking dairy milk? Does that have magnesium?
it's not going to be as good as the whole food itself, but it will have some, but not as good as
Right.
the itself.
So Jeff, I'm just, going out on the internet and going, top 10 magnesium foods. And so they sound like this: salmon, tofu, chia, bananas. Sure, you heard about eating bananas for cramps and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
I know that's what my mom taught me. Yeah, magnesium and potassium too. Black beans, spinach, cashews, oats, peanuts, and potatoes. And I
Okay.
can tell you in my diet, potatoes is one of the highest source of potatoes got a lot of good stuff in it. It's really kind of interesting what you get from that. So, that gives you an idea. And then, of course, you can always take a pill.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, if
All right.
the whole
Thank
idea
you.
is to make the basis of the diet a whole foods based diet, and like all those foods that you listed, hopefully you have a handful of those that you're incorporating on a regular basis. Get magnesium, but it's going to be hand in hand with the fiber. So that's what's nice about whole foods based eating.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. Anybody else want to chime in and ask a question? Um, I'm not seeing much, so I'm going to ask one more because I didn't hear the answer to it. Um, so zinc, I've taken zinc a lot over the years, and now I'm wondering, copper. But I noticed that no zinc supplements come with copper in them. Like,
Um,
it's not a combo deal. And
there
you
is
don't,
one. There is one. There is
is
one.
there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called it's by Jaro. It's called Zinc Balance. And the ratio there is 15 to 1. So a milligram of copper for 15 milligrams of zinc. So
Got it.
that's a good ratio right there to help ensure
Okay.
utilization.
And I think most of us get that in our, if they take a multivitamin, quite, multivitamin with minerals, quite often there'll be about that much copper in it, but apparently just enough to, you know, get, get what you need. And then I'll take a question from Brooke, who's chiming in, because she wants to know about magnesium citrate versus magnesium glycinate, and which one do you take when? Elliot, I know, takes glycinate because I didn't need the mild laxative effects of the citrate. But you go right ahead.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, so depends on what your intended target use is for that. So like Elliot was saying, he uses the gluconate because he's not looking for the mild laxative effect that sometimes the citrate um, can give off. So the the citrate, both a gluconate and citrate are great forms of magnesium. They're highly absorbed by the body. Um, Gluconate is a good all around form of magnesium. Citrate is too, but if you're an individual who tends to lean more toward constipation, the citrate might be a better option for you. Whereas if you lean more toward a looser stool, then maybe the gluconate would be a better option for you. But generally taken at night, magnesium as the body is settling down, the digestion and to help with sleep as well, to prevent the restless legs. But really, what I like to say with supplements, probably the most important part is when you are going to be most apt and consistent in taking that specific supplement. That would be the most important time at the end of the day is what time of day are you going to be most consistent in doing that? And supplements for to get the best use out of them need to be taken at multiple times a day. So you might not have always that option. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a quick story there. Recently, I was like, I can't take all these pills in the morning and all at night. And if you take too many, I was getting nauseous. And, it is what it is. So I went to the internet and I was like, which thing should I take at what time? And basically, the internet said, well, you should take it 4 times a day at these different times, these supplements. And these should be like your fat solubles, your DAKE have to be taken with food or else they don't work. If you take those right before you go to bed, unless you had a late night snack, no. Um, so the trick for me was I bought 4 compartment pill strips. So I have a week, it's 28 slots, and they come out. You can lift out each day with 4 slots per day. And then if all right, I got 2 midday, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, throw it in the briefcase. There you go. So it's sometimes as simple as buying a piece of plastic about this big to solve the problem, is really my point.
Recommend that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So any other questions here before we wrap it up? I'm not seeing any hands raised. So, here's what I'll tell you, and this is going to go from me to kudos to Hunter, but it is what it is. So when I hired Hunter a year ago, I weighed 26 pounds more than I do now. And we're going to call it other issues. And, I'm very pleased to report that I've lost the weight. I've kept it off. My body fat is half, well, less than half of what it was, went from 25% to 11%. And I just started following all these rules. Okay. Now, Hunter did customize them for me, but my point is, I didn't really have to do that much except what he told me to do, or, I guess differently, don't cheat. And that's easier said than done. But you also knew when you could cheat and how to cheat and when the opportunities to cheat arose, and it all came down to tracking and keeping track of what you eat. And some of the programs that he recommended for me were very good. Chronometer, MyFitnessPal. So for anybody who's really serious about this, the number one tip I'll give you is, besides talking to Hunter, is start tracking. And then you'll match your blood work to your tracking, and then everybody can look and see, oh, yeah, you're eating the wrong stuff. And so thank you for attending. I hope you found this useful. And Brooke will be sending out, we did record this evening. So in about 2 weeks, the recording will be available. And anybody who wants it, please reach out to Brooke. And also, happy to follow up with Hunter's contact information, or Hunter, lean forward just a little so we can all read your shirt. Reform Nutrition. There you go. All right. So last chance for questions. Nope, I don't see any. So again, thank you.